the kind of top scale with them, but I mean, obviously there are like local equivalents of him working in Baltimore or wherever.
I'm a capitalist. I think the market will speak. If people value this, one way or another, they'll find a way to pay for it. Whether it's advertising, whether it's direct payments, whether it is, sponsorship. I don't know. I mean, I think the marketplace actually works on this. I mean, I think for the first time in history, we're actually testing what the marketplace wants, rather than just giving them what we tell them they can have on these 4 channels and these 6 stations and these 2 newspapers. Now we give them everything, and they can tell us what they really want. So if people want investigative journalism, I assume that over time we will find how to pay for it.
I mean, because obviously that's probably like the least cost-effective kind of journalism there is. I mean, it takes a lot of time to be able to write one of those stories. It takes loads of months of research and interviews. If you want to present it in that way, I mean, that's why I'm suggesting maybe whistleblowers and stuff like that, do self-publishing instead.
I don't even know how to answer that. It's like saying, I mean, people start companies and spend years on them with very low probability of success. Independent filmmakers make films that may never get broadcast. Bands practice for years and never get a record deal. I'm not sure what's so special about journalism. I think this is
I'm not saying it is.
This is the way the world works. Most things don't work. Often things you work on for years don't pay off. But the things that are truly valued typically get paid for one way or another. Yeah, over here.
Yeah, I'm Roman Pixel, and I write for a number of publications within the mobile space.
Yeah.
And I'd like to ask you about bandwidth, because during your speech, I think it was during your speech, you said something about wasting. It was
wasting bandwidth.
Yeah, wasting exactly. Wasting hardware and wasting bandwidth, and that it would take us forward.
With YouTube as the example.
Yeah. My question is, within the mobile industry.
Yeah, good point.
It is not really worked.
No.
I don't take that there is a monopoly or a oligopoly.
Well, there is.
I will not take that for an answer, because in that case we have the same situation in the broadband industry.
Also
there are a few players. They do basically the same things. And you've been in the IT space for a while now, and you've seen the same thing happening in '93 is happening today. Lock-ins, portals, and bandwidth.
So why will you not accept oligopoly as the answer?
Because in the case of World Wide Web, it is not sustained. So,
are you talking now? Which bandwidth are you talking about? Are you talking about the network backbone, or are you talking about the last mile?
Well,
we have an oligopoly of the last mile.
I'm talking about consumer the end price for the price for the end consumer.
Right. That's not the bandwidth we're wasting, by the way. I mean, we are wasting some of it, but that's not YouTube economics.
But recently we heard about restrictions that companies that earlier marketed the bandwidth that they are offering the customers as unlimited are now limiting the bandwidth.
Right.
So,
oligopoly.
No, but seriously, why is this happening more in the mobile industry? Why do we see this more in the mobile industry than in other industries?
Because
why is it more sustainable to do this? Because it's mobile.
Because we have chosen because the spectrum, the RF spectrum is limited. And we have chosen as nations to sell it off in monopoly chunks, which is what a spectrum license is. It's a monopoly. We've chosen to sell it for the highest price, which means that that we grant people a monopoly and then put them in so much debt to get that monopoly that they have to charge consumers a high price to make it back.
So the state is to blame, basically.
No, physics is to blame. The spectrum, cannot be easily shared. Now there are ways to solve this problem, but this is the thing about the spectrum is they've got this kind of collision problem. Now you can solve it with things like spread spectrum, as we've done the 2.4 gig, with Wi-Fi and etc. In the United States, we've just liberated. I'm using the phrase liberated some of the former analog television spectrum in something called the white space. In the analog world, this is a really geeky answer, but since you asked me, you know where I'm going.
Liberated is not gratis, so.
That's a Libra.
There's a very interesting open spectrum movement.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in open spectrum, a big believer in open everything. But you know, what we did is we used to say, okay, within the analog spectrum, you've got these channels. Each one has a monopoly, and then because analog's so messy, we had to have these gaps in between the channels. And once you go to digital, you don't need those gaps anymore. So that's called white space, and you can hand those over to the commons. And you know, Wi-Fi solves your problem, right? I mean, where I live, we have Wi-Fi everywhere. We don't use it. I mean, my iPhone can do Wi-Fi and it can do 3G. I can tell you, I'm not paying the cell phone company. When I'm in my home or in my workplace, we're not paying the cell phone company anything. We're using free spectrum. So that's what spread spectrum and open wireless can do. There's a lot of spectrum out there. As we do the analog to digital transition, there's a lot of spectrum that can be liberated. And I think the answer to your question is oligopoly, and the solution is open spectrum.
Okay, one more. And then
Yes, sir.
I'm Kevin Ohashi. I'm a website developer. First off, I want to thank you for your presentation. My question is, you talk about everything going to free.
I never talk about everything
Well,
for free.
You talk about things going to free,
Yes.
mainly on the internet, everything digital.
Right.
I'm wondering, do you think it'll ever go past free, where users see the value of themselves and they're
Sure.
contributing?
Absolutely. Yeah, negative pricing. Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot. I mean, sometimes in little silly ways, you know, cashback, you know, yeah.
Right. Do you think it's going to go
Cashback
bigger?
rebates. Microsoft will pay you to search right now. So there are examples of it. It's, you know, there's no. I mean, just as the way that the prices that you know, prices could go to zero, prices can go past zero. It's a total continuum of pricing. The question is, you know, what's your time worth? What's your reputation worth? I can easily see negative pricing being a business model that's tried in some places. I mean, it's a great way to go bust too. So you have to be careful. And I'm not sure Microsoft's gained much market share by paying people to search, but it is, you know, it's just, you know, it's a numbers, positive, zero, negative. It's a continuum, and I think people are going to experiment with all of them.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Do we have to? Thank you. All right. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.